there we go. Hello, everybody. Today, I'll be discussing sustainable development in the tourism and hospitality industry. Specifically, I chose to answer the question, is the concept of sustainable development applicable to the tourism and hospitality industry? Tourism is one of the world's largest industries, contributing significantly to employment, economic growth, and cultural exchange. However, tourism can also create challenges such as environmental degradation, cultural disruption, and unequal distribution of economic benefits. As tourism continues to grow globally, it is becoming more important to ensure that development becomes responsible. This is where sustainable development comes into play. Throughout this presentation, I'll explain what sustainable development means in tourism and hospitality. I'll discuss the triple bottom line framework and provide real-world examples of how sustainability is applied in different destinations around the world. So, is the concept of sustainable development applicable to tourism and hospitality industry? Yes, it is highly applicable. Sustainable development is not only applicable for the industry, but it is also essential for the long-term success of the industry. See, tourism relies heavily on natural environments, local communities, cultural heritage, and economic stability. If these resources were damaged or depleted, tourism destinations can lose their attractiveness and competitiveness in the market. For example, tourists have often traveled to experience beautiful beaches, unique culture, historic landmarks, or natural landscapes. If these attractions are destroyed through pollution, overcrowding, or poor management, fewer tourists will visit in the future. To understand why sustainable development is so important, we need to consider the scale of the tourism industry. Tourism contributes trillions of dollars to the global economy. It supports millions of jobs worldwide. However, tourism can also consume large amounts of water, energy, and take up so much land. Popular destinations often face issues such as overcrowding, pollution, traffic congestion, and rising cost of living for the residents. If these issues are not managed properly, the tourism industry may experience long-term consequences. Destinations can lose their attractiveness. Local communities may become less supportive of tourism, and natural attraction may be permanently destroyed. Sustainable development provides a framework of addressing these challenges while allowing tourism to continue growing responsibly. Therefore, sustainability is no longer considered optional. It is becoming a key part of modern tourism planning and management. This idea is often summarized by the United Nations, actually, which states that sustainable development involves meeting present needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. To better understand how sustainability works in tourism, we can look at this concept known as the triple bottom line. The triple bottom line is a framework used to evaluate sustainability through three dimensions: environmental sustainability, economic sustainability, social and cultural sustainability. Traditionally, businesses focus primarily on profit. However, sustainable development recognizes that success should not be measured solely by financial performance. Instead, businesses and organizations should consider their impact on people and the planet. The triple bottom line is sometimes summarized as the people, planet, profit. These three elements must work together because tourism does not operate in isolation of any of these. For example, if a hotel focuses only on profit and ignores environmental concerns, it may reduce costs in the short term, but damage the destination that attracts visitors. Similarly, if local communities do not benefit from tourism, they may become resistant to further tourism development. The triple bottom line actually encourages businesses and governments to consider the broader impact of their decisions rather than just fully focusing only on financial performance. This approach is increasingly being adopted by hotels, airlines, tour operators, and tourism authorities around the world. In tourism and hospitality, these three dimensions are closely connected. A healthy environment attracts visitors. Strong local communities provide authentic experiences. A stable economy supports businesses and create employment opportunities. If one dimension is neglected, then the entire tourism system can become unstable. For example, a resort may earn high profits in the short term by overusing natural resources. However, if the environmental damages reduce the destination's attractiveness, future profits will cease. Therefore, sustainable tourism seeks to achieve a balance among environmental protection, economic growth, and social well-being. Now, let us look at each of these dimensions individually. Environmental sustainability. Environmental sustainability focuses on protecting natural environments and reducing negative impacts on ecosystems. Tourism activities can place significant pressure on natural resources action. Hotels can consume large amounts of energy and water. Transportation contribute to greenhouse gas emissions. Tourist activities can damage and disrupt ecosystems, wildlife habitats, and the marine environment. To address these challenges, many tourism and hospitality businesses have adopted environmentally sustainable practices. For example, hotels increasingly reduce the use of single-use plastic. Many hotels will provide refillable water stations instead of plastic bottles. Other places disposable toiletries with reusable alternatives. Another common practice for hotels involve energy saving systems. Hotels may use LED lighting, energy efficient appliances, and just opt out for renewable energy sources such as solar energy and wind energy. These measures are not only these measures not only reduce environmental impact but also reduce lower operation costs in the long run. This creates benefits for both the environment and the business. Environmental sustainability has become especially important due to climate change. Rising temperatures, extreme weather events, the sea levels rising, and biodiversity lost are already affecting many tourism destinations. Coastal destinations may experience beach erosion, ski resorts may face shorter winter seasons, and coral reef destinations may suffer from coral bleaching. These environmental changes can reduce visitors and create economic challenges for local communities. As a result, many tourism businesses are not only reducing their environmental impact, but are also adapting to environmental changes. Sustainable practices help destinations remain attractive and resilient for the future. Environmental sustainability, and particularly, is important because natural attractions are often the foundation of the tourism itself. Without healthy ecosystems, many destinations would lose their appeal. This takes us to a real world example, the Maldives. The Maldives is a strong example because it is internationally known for its crystal clear waters, coral reefs, and marine biodiversity. Tourism is one of the country's most important industries, but these natural resources are also highly vulnerable. To address this challenge, many resorts operate under the concept of one island, one resort. This helps control development and reduces overcrowding by limiting the amount of tourists in a single area. Additionally, restrictions are placed on activities such as diving and snorkeling in sensitive reef zones. These help prevent physical damage to coral reefs, which are essential habitats for marine life. Many resorts also implement waste management programs to reduce pollution and protect surrounding waters. The Maldives is one of the country's most vulnerable. Maldives is also one of the country's most vulnerable to climate change because much of the country lies only a few meters above seawater. Rising sea levels pose a threat to both local and tourism infrastructure. This makes environmentally sustainable practices particularly important. Protecting coral reefs not only supports tourism, but also help protect coastline from erosion and storm damage. In this way, environmental sustainability provides both environmental and economic benefits. Without healthy coral reefs, marine ecosystem, the Maldives will risk losing a massive portion of its tourism revenue. This example really shows the close relationship between environmental conservation and economic benefits. Now, onto the next dimension of the triple bottom line framework is economic sustainability. Economic sustainability focuses on generating in long-term income, growth, and employment opportunities. Many people assume that sustainability is only about protecting the environment. However, economic sustainability is just as important. Tourism should provide lasting economic benefits rather than short-term gains and profit that can disappear over time. A sustainable tourism economy should create jobs, attract investments, generate tax revenues for the country, and contribute to the national economic development. It also ensures that local communities receive meaningful benefits from tourism activities. Economic sustainability is particularly important because tourism can be vulnerable to external shocks. Events such as economic recessions, natural disasters, pandemics, or political instability. With these can significantly reduce visitor numbers. Destinations that rely entirely on tourism may face serious economic difficulty when tourist arrival declines. Sustainable economic planning helps destinations really diversify income sources, and they can support local businesses and build resilience against unexpected challenges, like I mentioned. This creates a stronger and more stable tourism sector over the long term. When tourism is economically unstable, businesses can continue operating successfully while supporting workers. I meant to say when tourism is economically sustainable, businesses can continue operating successfully while supporting workers, suppliers, and local economies. It is also important to avoid over-dependence on a single economic activity. Sustainable tourism encourages diversification so that destinations remain resilient during economic turndown or unexpected events. An example of economic sustainability is in Costa Rica. Costa Rica is recognized as a leader in sustainable tourism and ecotourism. The country has developed a tourism model that generates income from multiple sources, including eco lodges, wildlife tourism, guided nature tours, and national park entry fees. These activities generate consistent revenue while supporting employment opportunities, particularly in rural areas. Importantly, tourism has helped reduce the dependence on traditional industries such as agriculture. This diversification strengthens the economy and provide alternative sources of income for local communities. Tourism contributes significantly to Costa Rica's economy and has been a major source of its foreign exchange earnings. Costa Rica's success demonstrates that environmental conservation and economic development can complement each other. Rather than viewing environmental protection as a barrier to growth, Costa Rica used its natural assets as a competitive advantage in the industry. Tourists are often willing to pay premium prices for authentic tour experiences. This creates additional revenue while encouraging further conservation efforts. As a result, economic growth and environmental protection reinforce one another instead of competing with each other. Costa Rica really shows how tourism can support long-term economic growth while maintaining the resources upon which that growth will depend on. And the last but not least, the final dimension of the framework, social and cultural sustainability. The social and cultural sustainability focuses on improving the quality of life for local communities while preserving traditions, heritage, identity, and cultural values. Tourism can bring many social benefits if it creates employment, supports local businesses, and promotes cultural exchange between visitor and residents. However, tourism can also create challenges like excessive tourism can increase living costs for residents, disrupt local lifestyles, or lead to the commercialization of cultural traditions. Tourism is fundamentally a people-centered industry. A visitor often travels not only to see landscapes but also to experience local lifestyles, traditions, cuisines, festivals, and cultural heritage. If tourism causes local traditions to disappear or become excessively commercialized, destinations may lose the authenticity that originally attracted visitors. Sustainable tourism, therefore, seeks to preserve genuine cultural experiences while ensuring that the local residents maintain their control over their own cultural identity. This creates a balance between welcoming tourists and protecting the interests of host communities and the local communities. For this reason, sustainable tourism seeks to ensure that local communities actively participate in tourism development and receive a fair share of its benefits. When managed responsibly, tourism can actually help preserve cultural heritage by increasing awareness and generating funding for conservation efforts. Two examples of social and cultural sustainability are in Costa Rica again and in Kyoto, Japan. In Costa Rica, community-based tourism allow local families to directly own and operate their own eco lodges, guiding services, and their own cultural tours. This approach ensures that tourism income remains within local communities rather than being dominated by large corporations or international companies. As a result, tourism contributes to improved living standards, local development, and community growth. Another example can be found in Kyoto, Japan. Kyoto is famous for its historic districts, temples, traditional architecture, and cultural heritage. However, like increasing tourist numbers have created concerns about overcrowding and cultural disruption. To address these challenges, Japanese authorities have introduced guidelines encouraging respectful visitor behavior. Restrictions have also been placed on activities such as photography in sensitive cultural areas. These measures help preserve local traditions while allowing tourists to continue enjoying authentic cultural experiences. These examples also highlight an important principle of sustainable tourism. Local communities should be active participants rather than passive observers. Once residents are involved in tourism planning and decision making, tourism development is more likely to reflect local needs and value. This can really improve community support for tourism and reduce conflict between tourism, and the locals. Together, these three examples demonstrate how social and these examples demonstrate how social and cultural sustainability can protect communities, strengthen local identity, and improve the residents' quality of life while maintaining tourism benefits. So, in conclusion, sustainable development is highly applicable and essential for the tourism and hospitality industry. The industry depends on environmental resources, economic stability, and healthy local communities. Sustainable development helps ensure that these resources remain available for future generations to come. Through the triple bottom line framework, we can understand sustainability from three perspectives. Environmental sustainability, which protects ecosystems and natural resources. Economic sustainability, which creates long-term growth, employment, and financial stability. Social and cultural sustainability improves community well-being while preserving cultural heritage and identity. The examples of the Maldives, Costa Rica, and Kyoto, Japan demonstrates that sustainable development is not simply a theoretical concept. It is already being applied in destinations around the world, while and although challenges such as over-tourism, climate change, and economic pressures still exist, sustainable development provides a practical framework for balancing the needs of tourists, businesses, and local communities, as well as the environment. Looking, looking ahead, sustainability will likely become even more important as tourism continues to grow. Travelers are becoming more environmentally conscious. Governments are introducing stricter regulations, and businesses are more expected to demonstrate responsible practices. Sustainable development is therefore not just about solving today's challenges, it is also about preparing the tourism and the hospitality industry for the future. Destinations that successfully balance environmental protection, economic prosperity, and social well-being will be better positioned to remain competitive and attractive within the market in the years ahead. Ultimately, the future success of tourism and hospitality will depend on how effectively the industry can embrace sustainability and ensure that the growth of today does not come at the expense of tomorrow. Well, thank you everybody for listening. This is the end of my presentation.